Hi everyone, Kev from Basketball Victoria here. I'm also joined by Rosie from our Integrity Department. In this video, we're going to talk to you about post-tribunal processes, which encompass submitting an online tribunal hearing report form after you've held your tribunal, and to enter suspensions into PlayHQ. Now I'm going to throw you over to Rosie, who's going to talk you through the tribunal hearing report form.
Thanks, Kev. So most of you will be aware, but hopefully for those who don't, you can actually find an online hearing report form through our website, which is found under associations resources, then through governance, and then tribunal resources. It's called the tribunal hearing report form, and there is a click link button for that. It takes you straight to the form. Alternatively, you can go to bit.ly/BV tribunal. It's just a shortcut if you were looking for another way to get there. So I'll take you to the report form. Okay, once you've clicked into your tribunal hearing report form, it will look something like this, which is mostly through drop-down boxes, and I'll take you through it. The submission details, sometimes this is your tribunal chair, sometimes it's your hearing officer. It actually doesn't matter to us who's filling it in, as long as they do get filled in and come to us. So you pop in whoever is filling it in. I've got mine pre-populated, so that's easy for me to pop in. Then it goes through your tribunal hearing date. In this instance, where, say, our tribunal happened on the 1st of May, we go through, we pop in the 1st of May. Your branch, for us, it's going to be set out through all your associations. You should be listed in there. In this instance, we're going to say that it was Basketball Victoria that did this tribunal. And it was a tribunal hearing in this instance, not an alternate procedure, but you can put alternate procedures in here. Your chair, obviously, your chairperson, so we're going to put in that Dan was our tribunal chair, and our members were Peter McKenzie and let's say Sarah Paul. I've got all my members there. Was this matter an adult to child incident? This is part of our reporting requirements for CCYP under the reportable conduct scheme. This instance, we say no, it wasn't an adult to child, or yes. We're going to say no, it was not, it was involved a child. So the offence date, sorry, I've put in the tribunal date as the 1st. My tribunal happened yesterday. Going down, my offence date was the 1st of May. And the association where this happened, again, all your associations are listed in there. We're going to say this one happened in the VJBL. The competition and the grade, this was, again, VJBL. And it might have been the under 12, I might just say under 12 boys. The role, it was a player in this instance, but again, you can see the drop-down box. You can put the score table, the coach, a spectator. You've got the options there. It was a player. The team, it was Chicago Bulls. That's what their team name was. The reported person, Dennis, last name, Rodman. Siglet number, if you have that, 91. Don't worry about email if you don't want. You can put in the reported person's email address if you like there. You don't have to, same with address. The reporting official, let's say this was Kev and Curry Theo. Okay, we're down to the charges. How many charges did this person have? It should be on your report form. In this instance, they might have had 3 reporting charges, and it's pre-populated again. Charge 1, they were attempting to cause injury. They pled not guilty, but the tribunal found them guilty. The second charge was bringing basketball into disrepute. They pled guilty on that, and they were found guilty. The last charge, they were disputing decisions. And as you can see, each drop-down box has got all the pre-populated charges in there. In this instance, they were disputing decisions. They pled not guilty. Again, the panel found them guilty. I think you all are aware that you can have a panel penalise individually, or you can have the collective penalty at the end. So if you've got a collective penalty, don't worry, it's further down. Did this person attend the hearing or not? They did. You don't need to tick the box. If they didn't, you're going to tick the box, and then it will allow you to put in if there was a penalty for non-attendance. This person, we're going to say he attended. Okay, the penalty to be applied, there is a penalty on this one. and they've received a suspension. As soon as you tick the box, it'll direct you to what the next thing is. This suspension, this person received 6 weeks, remembering that you can't charge in games, it's weeks unless they're a professional player. And their resumption date is in 6 weeks. Let's just assume that I know what that is and go with the 3rd of the 7th. No, let's go a bit further. Let's just say the 31st of the 7th. This one isn't banned from venue, so I'm not going to tick the box. If they were banned, you'd tick it and you'd get the return to venue date where you need to put that in as well. I'm going to say for this one, he was not. And were they served with the notice of penalty and appeals? This is a really important step that everyone needs to be adhering to. Even if the player hasn't attended, you need to give them that penalty and appeals advice form. So if you are planning to send it even the next day, I recommend you tick the box. So I'm going to say, yes, I'm serving them with that, even though it might be going out the next day and it wasn't at that time. And any notes that the tribunal remorseful and respectful. I don't know. You could put in whatever you need here. You might say that, attended with parents, anything you like to say, and then you submit it. The submission will then come directly to our office and we can capture it into a database. Just going back up, if you were looking at an alternate procedure offer, the same thing applies. We still need you to put the form in. When you tick the alternate procedure offer, it reduces the requirements of what you need to put into this form. So you won't have to put in those individual charges. Same things apply here, but then you'll come down and it will just jump straight to the suspension area. It won't require you to put in all those guilties and not guilties because the APO has been essentially accepted in this instance, and you would not tick reported with the appeals advice because that doesn't apply for an APO.
Thanks for that, Rosie. So again, Basketball Victoria's website, basketballvictoria.com.au, the Resources Hub, Association Resources Governance, and then there's a tribunal section there, or bit.ly/BV Tribunal, just noting that it is case sensitive, so the B and V are to be in capitals and the rest of it lowercase. So once you've completed the tribunal hearing report form online, the suspension and only suspensions of your registered players or coaches need to be entered into PlayHQ so they can be prevented from being added to games on electronic scoring. I'll also go through non-game incidents with you. So these are for instances of suspensions that have occurred for something that occurred outside of a game. It might be like a social media breach. And also players that are suspended, your players that are registered to your association that might have been suspended whilst filling in elsewhere. You can also use non-game incidents for that. So I'm just going to jump into PlayHQ. Now, only those with PlayHQ access to your association database are able to put these in. So it could be that you might need to ask your competition administrator to put in the suspension if you do not have access to PlayHQ. So to put in a suspension, you just need to head into the game day section and find the date of the game, find the question where the incident occurred, and go into details. You can then click on the Incidents tab and add an incident. So in this case, we're going to start this off, and it was from the Chicago Bulls, and it was Dennis Rodman that got suspended for 6 weeks. And I think what Rosie said was his suspension ended on the 31st of July. So we want to select Reportable Offence Tribunal. So we're not worried about all the specifics of the report. We just want to select Reportable Offence Tribunal. Now the note here, once you've submitted the tribunal hearing report, you will get a reference number back via email, and you just want to pop that number in here. And do not worry about anything else down here. Okay, so we just hit create incident. And then once you've created the incident, we need to create an outcome. So we hit add an outcome. We're always going to say guilty because, as Rosie mentioned, there is going to be a master record that's formed for our tribunal that is based off all those individual tribunal hearing reports that are entered. All we're putting into PlayHQ is just guilty and suspension outcomes. So we're going to put suspension only. And there were 6 games. Now the start date was the date of the tribunal. I can't remember exactly when Rosie said it was, but let's say it was the 14th, and the end date was the 31st of July. And the outcome note, there's nothing to put in there, so just put a dash and close this off. And then we create the outcome. So that's all that needs to be done for an incident, a suspension when you're entering in for a player or a coach. Now, I'm just going to quickly show you how you could do a non-game incident as well. So as touched on, if it's something that happened outside of a game, or it might have been a player. So an association might say to you, hey, a player was filling in at my association, but they're registered to your association. Can you pop in a non-game incident for that? Now, to do a non-game incident, you just go into participants and search for the player that you are suspending. Search for them, and then you go into their profile, and you can go into incidents and suspensions and add a non-game incident. Select behavior again, and the incident date occurred on, let's say this one happened on the 5th of June. The season that it occurred against was winter 2025. Reportable offence, again, the reference number. So if it was a fill in another association, they'll give you a different reference number. You pop that in. Again, leave all this blank, create the incident, and then you create the outcome. So you got 3 games. And again, we don't need an outcome note, and we can close it off. So that's how we enter the suspension into PlayHQ. And now what I'm going to show you guys is how this impacts electronic scoring and prevents suspended participants from being added to a game. So tonight, this team is playing at the Burundara Sports Complex. So as a competition administrator, I'm setting up the scoring session. And once this loads, I'm going to jump into this game, and I'll show you what happens when a suspended player someone attempts to add them to the game. So if I click into Bulls, I can see that Tony, who was suspended with a non-game incident, and Dennis, who was suspended with the game incident, because they're both under suspension at the moment, they cannot be added to the game. Now, other scenarios I'd like to talk you guys through is fill-ins and spectators. So if you believe or found out that a fill-in or spectator is also a registered participant as a coach or player, if you could find out information about where they are registered, you can contact that other association and ask them to submit a non-game incident on your behalf. Or if you're unsure, you can also contact our integrity department. Life bans, please contact our integrity department who can put the life ban into PlayHQ. And just reiterating, it was registered players and coaches at your association that we're putting in suspensions for. We're not interested in putting fines and bonds into PlayHQ, anything that there was no penalty that was applied, and also internal suspensions. So all of that stuff, please ignore. That's all for now. Hope this helps. If you got any questions, please contact our integrity department. Rosie can help with that, or any PlayHQ related questions, please visit support.playhq.com, scroll down a bit and hit the contact us button.